Hey guys, so one of the most baffling things I've ever experienced in my life is how under the radar Omori was. About a year ago, I myself didn't even know what Omori was, until I got the role of Kel in an Omori voice acting project. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch it, it's a goodie. After I landed that role, I was curious on what Omori was. My dumbass thought it was an indie animation project. I was sitting there like, oh my god, an indie animation project! But then I discovered, no. Then I discovered it was a video game, and yeah, alright, I'll give it a shot. And then I discovered one of the most well-crafted RPGs with some of the most amazing characters, art, imagery, and stories I've ever experienced. Since then, I've kind of become obsessed with the game. Just a little. I was honestly shocked that I'd never seen or heard of the game up until then. Like, not even the big YouTubers have played it.
Omori has a massive community as well. A lot of people have been asking me to play that because they say that it's very like Undertale. But anytime I've seen stuff of it, I mean, it was kind of the same when I watched Undertale. And I've heard a lot of people say that it's just a really long game and it takes a really long time for stuff to like start happening. I don't know if I want to commit to that.
Huh? Whatever the case may be, I'm here to share the good word of Omori and why I believe it's a modern masterpiece of an RPG. Oh, and another thing. Spoilers are everywhere! Proceed at your own caution. The story begins with our main character, Omori. Get it? It's like the title. Waking up in a place called White Space. White Space is an endless white void that loops infinitely, sort of like the Otherworld from Coraline. All that is there with you is your adorable pet cat, a blanket, a laptop, and some tissues. God help me if there's some lotion around here.
That's disgusting!
You exit through a door which leads to a world of vibrant colors and a freaky-ass cat, like, ugh. This place is known as Headspace, and it's also where you meet your 3 other party members. Aubrey, the kind but quick-tempered muscle of the group. Kel, the energetic goofball who takes the spot of my favorite character. Maybe I'm biased because I play him in that voice acting project I told you about, but my best friend Sky said he's my spirit animal, so that's pretty official. And finally, there's Hiro, the responsible young adult and older brother of Kel. Hiro tells the group that their other friends, Mari and Basil, have invited them out to the forest for a picnic. There you meet 2 non-playable characters. Basil, a shy boy with the fondness of photography and plants, and Mari, who serves as a secondary parental figure alongside Hiro. After a quick game of hide-and-seek and a tutorial battle with goddamn Grimace over here, your party suggests heading to Basil's house deeper into the forest. On the way there, Aubrey and Kel get into a scuffle and knock Basil over, scattering his photos all over the place. Yeah, get used to that, these 2 fight a lot, and it's hilarious. Once you're inside Basil's house, you all work together to put the wholesome-ass photos back into the photo album. But then Basil discovers a photo that he doesn't remember taking before he could even say what it was. You're back in White Space. The door to your friends has vanished. You're completely and utterly alone. So you take matters into your own hands. What the fuck was that? You wake up in an old dark house, alone in the, well, dark. You have a message from your mom on the answering machine. You learn from her that you'll be moving from the house in 3 days. Just then, you grow hungry, and you try to make your way downstairs, and yet, you can't. So you go back to bed. However, your stomach wins the battle. Reasonable, my guy, I get like that too. So with all the courage in your body, you descend down the endless flight of stairs. The weird shadows around you then begin to shape and form into weird, skinny, wavy arms. You grab a knife to defend yourself, but ultimately, your fear gets the better of you. You battle against something. Or you could just call it the fear of stairs. Given the name, you'd think you'd be afraid of bathtubs or something. Anyways, you attempt to battle your fear of stairs with a knife. However, like real fear, it's all internal, so a blade won't do anything. All seems hopeless, until you hear a voice telling you to take deep breaths and calm down. You manage to beat your fear, and the endless stairs finally, well, end. Once downstairs, you head to the kitchen and find a cold steak in the fridge, and you go and microwave it. Who would microwave a pre-cooked steak? Ugh! After the unpleasant business in the bathroom, you hear a knock at your door. It's Mari. She's supposedly back home from a long night of work, but she forgot her key. However, upon checking, You wake back up in white space and head through the door for yet another adventure. When you make it back to Headspace, you're greeted by your friends once more. They show concern for the disappearance the last time you were there. You know, a part of me wonders what it was like from their perspective. Was it just like... I don't know. Upon leaving the stump, you encounter an A key. These keys become an important collectible that you'll need to get to proceed through the game. You don't have to collect all of them, just the ones that matter. You go back to the park and visit Mari, and she welcomes you with a warm embrace. The group then decides to head back to Basil's house to check on him, but upon getting there, you find out he's missing.
No, don't like that.
You and your friends search the vast forest from top to bottom, slaughtering rabbits along the way. Morbid, I know, but this leaf guy rewards you with a lot of cool stuff, so I guess it's not all bad. Yeah. When you and your party finish running a marathon around the forest, you return to Mari and tell her that you had no luck finding Basil. Kel then suggests that you and the others should try the really tall ladder just right to the stump, but Aubrey quickly shuts down the idea, knowing Omori is afraid of heights. However, a quick pep talk from Mari gives you the courage to conquer your fear and make your way up the ladder. That was a lot easier than I thought it would be. It was like, hey, go up the ladder. No, I can't, I'm scared. Do it. Okay.
Good job.
You follow a trail of bloody footprints until you finally reach the ladder and begin to climb. And if I could just interject here, sometimes that's all you really need. Sometimes encouraging words from a sibling does wonders for you. And upon reading this script, I just realized that I never made it clear that Mari was Omori's sibling. Whoops! Once up the ladder, your party passes through a sprout mole village, and you arrive at Otherworld, a small little moon-sized planet that hovers over all of Headspace. And I gotta say, I really love this place. The design of the world, the story plot, and the enemies, I just love it! After wandering around the town for a while, you come across a member of the Space Pirates. And no, not the ones from Metroid, those guys are a bunch of assholes. These guys are actually pretty chill. He informs you that their leader, Captain Spaceboy, has fallen into a depression because he was dumped by his now ex-girlfriend, Sweetheart. Oh, this character. We'll get to her in a little bit. But anyway, it also resulted in him becoming a Space ex-boyfriend. Writing this all in the script makes me realize how weird this story arc is. Captain Spaceboy is feeling the big sad, and the only way to get him out of his funk is to play his special mixtape. But, oh no! So someone threw it away, so now it's up to you and your party to go into the junkyard to find the mixtape. In which Kel is overjoyed, much to Aubrey's disgust. Oh, Kel, you little trash panda. Before you get to the junkyard, you walk along a space bridge and discover that the planet Pluto is missing from the planet lineup. Thanks, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil Tyson gave Pluto the axe.
Seems like a very odd detail to point out, but trust me, it will make sense later. The adventure in the junkyard is actually a really big highlight for me. It's so weird, yet entertaining. But then it drops like 20% because Rosie shows up. I am not a big fan of Rosie. She's like Mimsy from Hazbin Hotel. It's like, I don't need you. Why are you here? Go away. This little shit finds the mixtape and runs off with it. Once you finally catch up to her, you just find her standing out in the open, motionless. Look, it's creepy. When you finally approach her, your game seems to crash, but then you discover that you have to fight a Windows error tab. This is the part of the game where I ask myself, what the hell am I even playing? After that weird-ass battle, you take the mixtape back from Rosie and head back to Captain Spaceboy's house. On the way there, you encounter the missing planet Pluto running from the pursuing space pirates. He asks for your assistance to hide him, in which Kel stuffs him into a big crater. This ends up working. These pirates are really incompetent. It's like, hey look, here's the hole. Maybe we can check the hole? Nah. As thanks, Pluto then flies you back to town and he becomes the game's fast travel system. When you finally make it back to Captain Spaceboy's house, your party comes to the conclusion that Captain Spaceboy doesn't really need the tape, and seems like playing it would do more harm than good. Well, at least 3 of the 4 party members came to that conclusion. Damn it, Kel.
Ocean man, take me by the...
As expected, after Kel ear blasts everyone with the mixtape, Captain Spaceboy wakes up enraged and becomes the first boss fight of the game. I would recommend for this fight for every one of your party members to be happy. I guess I should mention a major part of the game's battle system. This emotion chart pretty much sums it all up, so there you go. As long as all your party members are happy, the boss battle is actually pretty easy to beat. After the battle, Captain Spaceboy finally calms down, and you engage in conversation. You tell Captain Spaceboy about your search for Basil. Unfortunately, he has no idea where Basil is, or even who he is. I don't know what they expected. Aubrey starts to worry again, but Captain Spaceboy comforts her and gives her a ticket for a snow cone. What a lad! On your way out of Otherworld, you come across the same bloody footprints from earlier. You follow them and come across a shadowy figure that resembles Basil. I don't know about you guys, but if I saw a shadowy figure with bloody footprints leading up to him, I'm gonna go the other way. However, I'm not an emotionless shell of a human like Omori, so oh well. When you begin to follow the figure, your party members get Thanos out of existence. Red flag number 2. The figure then leads you to a barn, and once inside it becomes a long, dark hallway. You find an F key, as well as the music sheet, and a framed portrait of a family. There's also a noose hanging above the picture, swaying in the wind. Once you turn to leave, you're greeted with... You're back in white space. Once again, the door is missing. However, we've all become all too familiar of what to do at this point.
That's disturbing.
You wake up back in that house again, but this time it's morning. Your mother leaves you a new message. She informs you that she's gonna be gone until moving day. What a great mother, right? When you leave your room, you hear a knock at the door once more. You go downstairs and it's Kel at the door, now a lot older. Geez, someone's been drinking their milk. Kel notices the for sale sign outside your house and wants to hang out for old time's sake. You agree to hang out with Kel and walk to the main setting of this real-world story arc, Faraway Town. I should also mention that there is a story split here. You're given the option not to answer the door at all and completely ignore Kel, and an entire different version of the story is told. But honestly, I can never do it. It's kind of like when you're given the option to kill the characters in Undertale. I can't do it, it's too sad. Hey, buddy!
Oh, alright, yep, I'll go fuck myself.
Faraway Town is the most calming place I've ever had the pleasure of exploring. It gives me Onet vibes from Earthbound. We always need our happy little towns in our adventure games. You join Kel on a trip to a store called Hobbies to pick up a gift for Hiro, who's returning from college tomorrow. You settle on a cookbook as a present. Makes sense, cause in Headspace, Hiro is the cook/medic. After you obtain the gift, you pass by Faraway Park and hear a commotion. You find Basil pleading to another kid on a scooter who seems very dismissive of him. Kel decides to interfere and help Basil out, cause he's a Chad like that now. Though the situation quickly changes, and not in your favor, since 4 other kids roll up on scooters. The fact that they're riding scooters in grass is kind of funny. One of the kids is surprisingly Aubrey, now sporting some pink hair and Lucille from The Walking Dead. She begins to antagonize Kel, however is thrown off by the presence of your character, whose canon name is Sunny, but it's an RPG, you can name him however you want. Kel tries to de-escalate the situation, but to no avail, while Aubrey just wants to kick all of our asses. You engage in a fight with Aubrey, but it ends pretty quickly when Sunny slashes her with a blade. With that, Aubrey and her group of goons, Kim, Angel, Van, the Maverick, and Charlie, retreat. You and Kel check on Basil and decide to walk him back home. Once you walk Basil back home, he reveals that Aubrey has stolen his photo album and insists the help of you and Kel to get it back for him. You and Kel search the whole town for clues, fighting Aubrey's friends along the way. It's only after your fight with Kim and Van that you find out where Aubrey is. Kim tells you that she's at the church, and it baffles Kel. I mean, yeah, like, what a saint.
Back to it.
You and Kel then head to the church and find Aubrey inside. Kel tries to initiate a conversation with her, which is like crap timing. Like, seriously, Kel? You don't see me talking. I mean, I'm over here, I'm Sunny. I don't even talk. I'm just over here like, meh. Aubrey then drops a bomb on us and reveals that Mari is dead.
What the fuck?
This news actually shocked the hell out of me when I first played it, and little did I know, it was just the beginning. You and Kel engage in a second fight with Aubrey, and she completely wipes the floor with you. After the fight, you could say it doesn't look good for Aubrey fighting in a church. Aubrey runs out of the church in frustration, and even Kel agrees that the situation could have gone better. On the way back from the church, you spot Aubrey throwing something out. Kel, being the trash panda that he is, digs through it and discovers that it's the photo album. Mission accomplished! You rush back to Basil's house to tell him the good news. For your act of kindness, Basil's caretaker Polly invites you for dinner. While Polly is busy in the kitchen, you, Kel, and Basil look through the photo album and all the good memories that you and the others have made. I honestly wish I had a childhood like this. You game! While eating dinner, Kel spills the beans that Sunny is moving in 3 days. This is news to Basil, who quickly darts into the bathroom, with Kel assuming it's an upset stomach. You follow Basil into the bathroom and this happens. Did that make you uncomfortable? Because it did me! After that weirdness, you call it a night and head back home. You say goodnight to Kel and head back inside. However, you find your house crawling with spiders. This is my friend Sky's worst nightmare. Once you face off against something, Aquaphobia, the voice from the first battle teaches you how to focus, and once again you conquer your fear. Afterwards, you head back to bed. Back to white space. You wake up back in white space. However, the music has changed from the pixelated sounding tune to a beautiful piano piece. Speaking of which, that's another highlight of the game. The music is amazing. I play the soundtrack on a loop on a daily basis. Big props to the music composer, honestly. Anyways, back to the story. It's pretty much cut and paste. However, the scene of Aubrey trying to ditch Kel and Hero to have alone time with you is actually pretty funny. You once again head to the forest park to meet Mari. Pretty disturbing now that you know that she's dead in reality. This time, the party decides to search Firefly Forest, the place just left to the stump this time. However, Hero is reluctant because he has a big fear of spiders.
Why spiders?
Once again, Mari, being the best goddamn character, gives him the courage to come along. On the way there, you run into a group of sprout moles who are talking about tickets to a show of some type. You then proceed to murder them and steal the tickets. Like,
What?
pretty random act of evil from our protagonists, but whatever, I guess.
Fuck it.
Firefly Forest is another badass location. Honestly, all the Headspace locations are fantastic. Though I just love this place for its spooky atmosphere. I just love it so much! However, in battle, you're pretty crippled since Hero's afraid of spiders and can't fight. Once you fix a rail system, you head across the bridge to a castle. Once across, you reunite with Mari. She commends all of you for making it through the forest, especially Hero, who hugs Mari for comfort. These two are so cute, I swear. As you walk further up the path, you start to see a bunch of dead sprout moles, straight up Sonic.exe style. You then engage in a battle with the King Crawler. He's pretty easy if you understand the game well enough. Once defeated, you head down a hole to the Sprout Mole village. Turns out this is where the show Sweetheart's Quest for Hearts is being held. How convenient for our heroes. You give the tickets to the Sprout Mole, unknowing to him that it's stained with the blood of his brothers. Jesus, that's dark. I forgot to put that in. The show itself is pretty shitty. The power going out and even one of the contestants freaking dying. Once you fix the power, you head back inside. Then the sprout hole with a mustache asks Hero if he wants to be the third contestant. Hero reluctantly agrees. Once the show finally starts again, we finally meet Sweetheart, and she gives one hell of a first impression. Sending a sprout mole who didn't even do anything down to the dungeon and instantly becoming a simp for Hero. Even asking him to marry her right then and there. Though Hero actually has some common sense and rejects Sweetheart's offer for marriage. Sweetheart then loses her shit and sends the party down to the dungeon. Though I wouldn't say it's a dungeon, given that they don't even lock their cells. The security sucks ass in this place. You and your party then have to make it through Sweetheart's confusing ass castle. No joke, I actually got lost a few times playing this part. Though I do admire how creative this place is. Very medieval.
Toast.
After you beat 3 generations of knights, bake a cake, harmonize, deal with a dress code violation, and sweet jelly-filled donuts, you come back to the stage and find that Sweetheart is marrying herself. I can't even lie, that's pretty funny. And Kel openingly admitting how pathetic it is makes it even funnier. Aubrey and Hero stand up and try to tuck some sense into Sweetheart, but Sweetheart, being the self-centered brat she is, only thinks that Hero changed his mind about marrying her, leading to Hero once again rejecting her. This woman is so self-centered, it's ridiculous. But this rejection leads to one of the best boss battles in the game. It's the first boss battle I actually got a game over on. Sweetheart will eventually become happy, but if you have a rain cloud as an item, she's pretty easy to beat. However, she can swap your emotions around, so be on your toes. I must also point out this battle music that plays during the fight. World's End Valentine, I think is Omori's equivalent to Megalovania from Undertale. Just a badass piece of music.
This is awesome.
After the battle, Captain Spaceboy crashes in and proceeds to propose to Sweetheart right then and there. Trust me, dude, you're in for many headaches. This, for some reason, gives Sweetheart the urge to bomb the stage.
Kaboom.
Yes, Rico. Kaboom.
You go to leave, but a dark feeling takes over you, and you proceed to jump down the hole in the stage. once again separated from your party and wake up in a place called the Lost Library, a nice calming area where you can vaguely read some of Sunny's memories. You find a peephole out of one of the bookshelves and you see Basil, and then... part of the chorus at this point, you get a glimpse of a Polaroid photo with a key taped to the back. Don't forget, it's in the toy box. Stay tuned for that. You wake up back in Whitespace and you already know what to do. You wake up back in your house with the sound of knocking at your door. It's Kel going all FBI on the front door. I get I'm leaving soon, but Jesus.
Yes?
Once again, you spend the day with Kel and you decide to go to the park and chill out and enjoy the beautiful weather. Once at the park, you find Basil just staring off into the trees. Kel is happy to see Basil okay after that whole bathroom freakout. Yeah, Kel, you have no idea. Kel extends his offer to accompany Basil through the day, but Basil quickly dismisses the offer. Basil's acting very sus. You and Kel then proceed to play delivery boy for Kel's family, getting cookies and a personally made sandwich for Hero, who's coming home from college today. After all that running around, you enter Kel's house and meet his family. They're just so wholesome. After some bro time with Kel, his mom calls you downstairs and finds Polly at the door. She's here seeking help from you and Basil, who can hopefully find Basil.
What the hell did you just say?
This kid's always going missing. You return back to the park where you last saw Basil and hear his shouts from the trees. You rush in and find Basil once again being tormented by Aubrey and her goons. It's honestly heartbreaking to see how downhill Aubrey has gone. Kel, being the brave bastard that he is, dives into battle with 6 other people. Yeah, it doesn't go well. After the fight, it wasn't really a fight. Kel tries to get through to Aubrey again, asking her what Mari would think of her behavior. The conversation gets too heated for Aubrey's friends, who take their leave. With her friends gone, Aubrey finally lets out all of her pent-up aggression, getting so enraged that she pushes Basil into a lake, leading you to dive in after him. And here is when you fight the third and final fear, Aquaphobia. The intro to this battle is effectively creepy. You learn to persist and the battle wraps up with a pretty touching yet bitter cutscene. Sunny imagines that it's Mari who rescued him from drowning, when it was actually Hero. Finally making his appearance in the real world. You, Hero, and Kel rush Basil back home, leaving Aubrey behind. You take Basil back home to Polly, and leave him in her care. To get your mind off the situation, you join Kel and Hero at Hero's homecoming party. Then Kel gets the idea to spend the night over at Sunny's house. Once nightfall comes, you 3 head over to Sunny's dark, empty house. The 2 brothers make a bed for it right next to your bed. And whatever you do not go to the bathroom mirror unless you want to get freaked the fuck out. After a very touching talk with Hero, you head back to sleep and go back to Whitespace.
Did I jump scare you?
Once again, you're back in Whitespace. But when you re-enter Headspace, you find that everyone's gone. Honestly, after being accompanied by such likable and fleshed out characters, when you're left alone, the feeling of loneliness is actually pretty effective. You play hide and seek with a mirror, for God's sake! How much more lonely can you get? If you go up to the docks, you find Mari staring out into the ocean. She's delighted to see you, and offers you to join her across the ocean. This whole scene of you and Mari walking across the transparent docks is one of the most beautiful scenes in the game for me. And when Mari says a heartfelt goodbye to her little brother, it's a real tear-jerking moment. You go down a whirlpool and then down a well, which leads you to the underwater highway. This place is odd. The amount of times I ran to the left before realizing I was in a loop is too many to count. I'm not very bright. You actually have to take a cab to move forward. The cab driver drops you off in front of the Last Resort, an underwater casino where your friends got tricked into signing contracts to work at. This place reminds me of Arlong Park from One Piece. Fuck that guy. You first run into Kel, who's been put on guard duty at the front gate, but in reality the boss just stationed him as far away as possible. That's hilarious. You, along with Kel, storm the casino in search for Aubrey and Hero. After battling through a bunch of gator guys, you finally find Aubrey, who's been hired as a receptionist. Honestly, at this point, the comedic dialogue between Kel and Aubrey is just so fucking funny. After reminding her about Basil still being missing, she snaps out of her work brain and joins the party. This next part is so weird and random, yet funny, so I'm just gonna let it play out. You ride all the way up to the boss of the last resort, Mr. Jossum. He's honestly a pretty fun character with a really cool design. You try to convince him to release your friends from their contracts, which Mr. Jossum is unable to afford, especially since Hiro is the best employee. Makes sense. Hiro's a workaholic. But just like Aubrey, Hiro seems to have forgotten completely about Basil. Kinda odd. After a quick reminder, Hiro decides to leave as well, leading Jossum to call his henchmen for battle. Jossum's battle is actually another favorite of mine, with you having to defeat his gator guys in order to damage him, which if you're over-leveled shouldn't be difficult. After the battle, Jossum actually calls Pluto, who's apparently on his pay grid, to stop you from leaving. This battle is pretty anxiety-inducing because of Pluto's strong attacks. Thank God for whole pizzas. Right before Pluto goes Super Saiyan, Jossum breaks up the fight, dismisses Pluto, and lets you leave, because he realizes that nothing will make you stay. What a lad, honestly. As you leave the casino, a problem hits your party. No one seems to remember what Basil even looks like. We do get this hilarious drawing out of it, though. What is that? Now, with your party back together, the search for Basil continues. While wandering around the highway, you run into Sweetheart again. No! She's already divorced from Captain Spaceboy and is looking for another perfect suitor. This woman, I swear to God. She rushes off in rage as you chase after her, fighting the weirdest enemies yet. Once across the highway, you come across a whale named Humphrey. Oh, funny. Aubrey tells Humphrey that your party is looking for Sweetheart, and Humphrey reveals that he ate her and invites your party to climb inside of his mouth.
What?
Big red flag, honestly. While inside Humphrey, you individually meet 3 sea witches, Marina, Medusa, and Molly. Or the Slime Girls, as they're called. Sweetheart seeks their help so they can use their smarts to create the perfect suitor. However, Sweetheart managed to piss all 3 of them off with her selfishness and unwillingness to pay the amount for their work.
Where's my money?
You make your way through Humphrey's body, that sounds disgusting, and find Sweetheart being cornered by the Slime Girls. They demand Sweetheart to pay off the bill of clams. She refuses and runs off, getting eaten by Humphrey off screen. Pretty morbid for an off-screen death. The Slime Girls then push her bill onto you. That's kinda bullshit. You then engage in the toughest battle in the entire game. This battle I've actually lost to multiple times. These women brutalize you. Even if you get the upper hand with a certain emotion, they can quickly turn it on you. This boss is clearly here to test your skills, but if you're smart enough, you'll win. After the fight, Humphrey devours the Slime Girls and has his eyes on you as his next meal. This begins another boss battle against Humphrey while he's swallowing you. This fight is disturbing. Once you battle your way out, Humphrey upchucks you out of his blowhole and then takes a nap. Thanks for almost eating us, dickhead! In his place is a whirlpool. Inside is a dark tunnel with pinkish red water. While navigating through it, you find a giant something on the wall. And as you approach it, you end up back in the room where you first met your friends. I don't know why, but when this first happened, it really put me off for some reason. Once you have all the required keys, you head back to Basil's house, which has been better. You find a big hole in Basil's floor. Without hesitation, Omori jumps down the hole, leaving his friends behind. You land in a dark sea with a beach along a forest. Once you make your way through the trees, you ascend a staircase and find Mari in a glass coffin. You then witness this freaky-ass scare. You enter a black door, and it leads to horrors unknown. Welcome to Black Space. In my opinion, the coolest and most surreal part of the whole game. I'm not even sure how to describe anything in Black Space. You're just stuck in a dark void with nothing but a bunch of doors that lead to a bunch of creepy nightmare worlds, each more disturbing than the last. If you're anything like me, you love weird nightmare shit. I'm not sure what it is, it's just cool. It gives me the same feelings as Mike Flanagan's adaptation of Stephen King's Doctor Sleep. Just weird, bizarre visuals. I love it! That said, it's still disturbing. From slicing open your own cat to get a key, to watching Basil die multiple different ways, including just straight up getting murdered by twisted versions of your friends. Scarred me for life. But it gets worse. By the end, you're on a snowy mountain, with the church from Faraway Town on top. On the inside, you find Basil being strung up by something. He begs you to help him, as something fully consumes him. You chase after him, and face a screen door, with an ominous red glow outside. Not to mention the creepy-ass music that plays at this part. Basil tells you that there's something out there. He's quickly proven right.
What the fuck?
You go outside and follow a blood trail to find Basil being restrained by red hands. He begs you to help him, screams that the hands are hurting him, but... This is the moment where I finally found out what Omori truly is in the context of the story. The morning you wake up to is actually pretty upbeat. Hiro bids you a good morning by doing all the chores your mother assigned to you. Hiro is just the best type of guy. He even prepared breakfast, which Kel promptly eats. You gonna eat the plate too there, buddy? You get a knock at the door and you find it's Kim. She's hoping you can help Aubrey, who hasn't left her house since the whole Basil Lake situation. Kim and the others are hoping you and your party can go talk to her. You head inside her house to find it's less than stellar, with garbage all over the place. You and your friends head up to Aubrey's room, who immediately greets you with hostility. After some adulting from Hiro, and Sunny bringing out the photo album, the three of you persuade Aubrey to help complete the album, with the pictures of Mari that she possesses. Honestly, this part of the game is just beautiful. I'm sure most people watching this video has had that one friend group. From your elementary school and middle school days, that one friend group that became more like family as the years flew by. This part of the game actually made me cry, just by flipping through the photo album. Anyways, after recollecting the past, Aubrey breaks down crying and apologizes to you, and rejoins the group. You and your reunited party head back outside, to Aubrey's friend group being overjoyed to see that she's okay. With Aubrey back in the group, you all head back to Basil's house. Polly answers the door and lets you know that Basil's in the hospital visiting his grandma and won't be back until later on. So in the meantime, you and your friends go out and enjoy the last day you'll have together. Afterwards, you all go visit the stump that used to be the tree where Mari... Commit died. And you even go visit your old treehouse. While there, you find one last photo for the photo album, as well as the key on the back that we saw earlier. Once you're done hanging around, it's time to go back to Basil's house and try to talk to him. However, Basil won't come out of his room, so your party crashes on the couch overnight to be there for him in the morning. Once you and your friends go to sleep, you enter white space, but this time as Sunny. While you're in white space, you run into Omori, just standing there, staring at you. You walk over to the dangling black light bulb and destroy it. You then have your final battle against something, taking the form of all your past fears, and finally, disturbingly taking the form of Mari for the final form. When you learn to finally overcome your fears, you defeat something. After defeating something, you meet Basil in a forest and begin collecting strange photos. You travel into the hole at the bottom of the tree, a la Attack on Titan, and you enter a place that gives you extreme mood whiplash. As you keep exploring this creepy place, you keep on finding more and more photos, and once you collect the final one, the story that the photos are telling finally becomes clear. This is where I feel like I should put up a warning. If you're easily disturbed by subjects of heavy themes of trauma and just disturbing events in general, I would suggest skipping ahead to this time code. One day, Basil came over to Sunny's house, in the middle of Sunny and Mari having an argument, finding Sunny's violin on the ground, broken. Things ended up becoming physical, and it ended with Sunny accidentally pushing Mari down the stairs, killing her. With Basil witnessing the whole thing, Sunny rushes down the stairs to tend to his sister, but it's no use. Sunny and Basil carry Mari over to her bed and begin to weep. After they calm down, Basil approaches Sunny with an idea. Both Basil and Sunny then carry Mari's body out to the backyard and use some jump rope to hang Mari's body from a tree, staging her death as a suicide. And while on the way back into the house, the boys take one final look at Mari to see her dead, soulless eye staring back at them. And that's how something was born. You wake up back in the middle of the night, after finally remembering everything that happened. You run into the bathroom to find Basil having a mental breakdown, full of denial and anxiety. Basil then begins to get consumed by something, and the battle between two friends begins. You have no choice but to engage in combat with Basil. In the scuffle, Basil ends up stabbing Sunny in the eye with garden shears, causing Sunny to fall unconscious. The two boys are eventually discovered, with the sounds of sirens filling the background. The next thing you know, you wake up in the middle of a crossroads. You find Basil in front of your house. He reassures you that Aubrey, Kel, and Hero will forgive them for what they've done and embraces you. When you re-enter the house, you find Mari on the piano. She expresses that people make mistakes and shouldn't blame himself for what happened. After your talk with Mari, you leave the room to find another door that appears on the other side of the stairs. Inside you find the toy box, and you use the key that you had on the back of the photo from the treehouse to open it to find the broken violin. Once you have the violin, you leave your house and enter Memory Lane. Sunny walks down a rainy highway and receives some of his best memories with his friends again. A day in the treehouse playing cards, at the beach eating watermelon, having a picnic by the lake, a rainy day, Basil's birthday, and finally, Christmas, when Sunny received his violin. When you're finally at the end of the highway, you enter a stage and find your friends waiting for you. You have one final talk with your friends, and they give you words of encouragement for the trials ahead as they slowly age. You head up to the stage and begin to play. But you can't.
No! What are you waiting for? Do it!
Once again, you're back in white space, and you come face to face with Omori and engage in combat. This shocked me the first time I played this game. The fact that you have to battle the character that you spent most of the game playing as is just, it's something else. As you fight Omori and defeat him multiple times, Omori never stays down. The battle continues as Omori starts berating you with insults. The battle goes on and on as Omori gets more and more disfigured until you're finally defeated. You get the normal game over screen, but when you hit yes to retry, Sunny stands up with his violin in hand and plays the final duet. With Omori gone and white space a place of the past, Sunny wakes up with a clean slate. You wake up in a hospital, in a room surrounded with gifts. You make your way through the hallways of the hospital, and here, you're met with a choice. I'm only going to talk about the good ending choice. If you guys are curious of what the other one is, go play the game for yourself. For the good ending, you follow the shadowy version of Basil. You follow the shadow Basil to another room in the hospital, and find Kel, Aubrey, and Hero watching over Basil. And for the first time in 4 years, Sunny speaks and finally tells the group what really happened. To me, Omori really is something special. I have never seen a story told in such a unique and interesting way. All the characters feel so real, and the situations they go through, I'm sure is really relatable to anyone who has lost a loved one. Plus, I'm pretty sure we all have an Omori inside of ourselves. That voice in our head that's always negative and does nothing but kick you down. That's why I find Omori to be so therapeutic in a way. If Sunny can stand up to Omori and break free from his hold, then anyone can get through anything. To me, that's a really powerful message, and it makes me think that I played Omori at just the right time in my life. I haven't gone through anything that Sunny has, God no, but when I do experience the hard parts of life, I'll at least have this game to tell me, it's all gonna be okay. I feel like that's advice that everyone should hear.